G'day again folks. What we've got here today is the third in my series of videos of the rifles in my collection, and today we'll be having a bit of a look at the number 5 Mark I from September of 1945, built at the Fazakerley factory in Liverpool. And so we'll have a bit of a close look. Starting at the front of the rifle, we see the distinctive flash hider, and I'll get to that. And we work our way back down the rifle. There's the old Vegemite again, and that's for the particular edification and entertainment of Mr. Ed Horton. And we head back down the rifle with a bit of a closer look at the receiver area there, and the butt, which is different from all previous Lee Enfield rifles. So we'll have a bit of a closer look at the receiver, and what we see is a lot of similarities with the earlier rifles, but some differences as well. We see the 10 round magazine, the normal chamber area. What we have, which was introduced from the 1930s onwards, is the rear mounted aperture flip sight. So we see it here where you can flip her up. The way that works, it's this particular one for the number 5 is graduated out to 800 yards. A bit hard to see, but on the bars here there are marks for the various distances. I'll see if we can get a close up on that one. Whoops, see? 6 and 8 and 4 on the left there. Can't really see that side. You've got this little wheel on the top and you flip her around, and each click is for 25 yards I believe, and you can see you bring that up. Then you look through the little sight there, line it up with the blade on the foresight, with a bit of something to come shortly, and away you go. Experience in the First World War showed that this particular type of sight mounted over the receiver was better than the earlier sights, rear sights, which were kind of up here somewhere. The reason that we have this particular rifle, which has a cut down stock and looks somewhat different from earlier Lee Enfields, is obvious, and I'll show you in a sec. When the Second World War began, the English had settled on, the Army had settled on the number 4 as the standard infantry rifle, although they didn't actually commence production of these until 1941, and it was well into the Second World War before they were all over the place. I think even after D-Day there were plenty of units still using the number 1, which were featured in earlier videos. So what we see here is a comparison between the number 4 in the rear ground and the number 5 in the foreground. As the war progressed, various calls went forward saying would it be possible to have a cut down lighter model of the number 4 that would be better in various combat situations. And so what they did, using the basic design, I'll go back a bit so you can see the pair of them, they worked out that it was possible, and they had some shorten and lighten prototypes and all, and they came up with the number 5. So looking at the two, we'll start at the rear here, and you can see the differences. The butt's different. It's got a rubber pad on the end, a metal bracket and a rubber pad to absorb more impact, more recoil, sorry. Bigger, or same amount of force with the lighter weight means more recoil, so they thought they'd put a rubber pad on the end there. Then going forward, you can see that the number 5 here has a cutout there because the sling was mounted on the side of the butt rather than underneath, as you can see on the number 4 there. Coming forward, the bolt handle on the number 5 has a circular hole milled into it as a weight reducing feature, while the number 4 doesn't. And you can actually see, if you compare the two, and I'll just slide old number 5 forward a bit, that the number 5, I'll just lift the rear side on the number 4, has more metal milled away here as against the number 4 there. The number 4 in the rear ground there is a number 4 Mark I, which has the same type of bolt release, which is back here, as the number 5, but I'll explain that later on. And I'll show you another detail difference in a second. When you look at the receiver, you can see that just in front of the receiver, what's called the Knox form, which is the rearmost point of the barrel where the receiver is attached. On the number 4, that's what she looks like, but on the number 5 you can see that there are these scallops which are machined into the metal, and there's another one under there, there are a couple underneath. So if you look at that, that's an extra weight reduction. So you look at the two of them, one has the scallops cut in and the other doesn't. So that's another way of telling the difference between a number 4 and a number 5. And it's possible sometimes to see number 4s which have been modified to look like number 5s these days, but that's a good sign that it's an original number 5 barrel, along with the big metal cutaway here as compared to the number 4, which is different. And when you flip them down, it's a bit hard to see, but you can see light through under the aperture rear side on the number 5, whereas there's a lot less to be seen on the number 4. So looking again at the number 5, we come down to the front here and we have the distinctive flash hider, flash eliminator, various names for this particular little beastie, and that's to cut down on the amount of flash. And I fired this particular puppy at night, and kaboom, she gets a great 6-inch flash. So this is apparently supposed to cut down on the flash slightly. I'm not sure that it does a great job, but there you go. Protectors over the forward sight blade, and they actually worked out that if you have holes in these protectors here, that lets in more light. And the Aussies were pretty quick to the mark. On the number 1 there weren't those holes on the foresight protector, but they milled those in later on during the war. And there's the Vegemite, just to show that this rifle may be English, but I'm an Aussie and this is an Aussie collection. Again, it's a joke from the Gunboards forum. Should have done this a minute ago, but I forgot, so I'll do it now. The number 4's in the rear ground and the number 5's in the foreground. And you can see here another area where metal was milled away that has not been milled away on the number 4. So it's just another weight reduction thing. So anyway, looking at the receiver of the number 4, it's a lot chunkier and more angular than that on the number 1. And so you got there number 5 Mark 1 ROF and F in brackets. That's number 5, the designation of the rifle. Mark 1 means it's the first proper one. ROF, Royal Ordnance Factory, and F stands for FAS, Fazakerley, which is in Liverpool. 945, and there's the serial number. Whoa, you got me serial number now. So there you go. Here's the safety again, in the same place as it was on the number 1. And what you got down here, England, that was a stamp put on these rifles when they were disposed from military service in England, in the 50s or 60s or whenever, before 1968 I think it was, just to show that that's where it's from. And another side of that particular butt. I'll leave the number 4 over there with grass on it, just to show from this side the differences, just as we have a bit of a closer look at the number 5. And you can see there the differences as the number 4 is stocked up to the end, whereas the number 5 isn't. Some people have actually wondered why it is. You can see I haven't put the sling back on the number 4. I'm a lazy person. Some people have wondered why military rifles are stocked right the whole way up. The whole reason behind that was they get pretty warm. So you need some sort of timber, some sort of protection to stop yourself burning on the barrel or stop it getting that uncomfortable that you can't use it. So even the number 5 is mostly stocked. It's only later on that they when they went to these plastic toy guns and things, which yes, granted, they do what they're supposed to do, things changed. So anyway, we'll just have one last scoop back across here. The difference between the number 4 and the number 5, and if you bear with me a sec, we'll have a look at the rifle with the bayonet attached. So there we go, that attaches on the flash hider there, flash eliminator, whatever you want to call it. And here we go back across the rifle. So folks, that's my number 5. It's a beautiful weapon. It came to me from a terrific source and I'm extremely happy with it. So there you go folks, representative example, September 1945, number 5 Mark 1, another Lee Enfield. Thanks folks.